And without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Cyanide and Happiness.
Thank you.
I'm Chris, how's it going?
Doing good. How are you?
Fantastic now that you're here. For those of you who don't know who you guys are, can you just give us like a brief summary about what you guys are all about, what you do?
Well, we do a daily webcomic as well as weekly animations. And we also do an animated series called the Cyanide and Happiness Show, really original.
And we just launched a card game on Kickstarter and did really well.
Yeah.
It's coming out in a couple of months.
It's called Joking Hazard. Yep.
So how'd you guys get into the business? Like how'd you guys start off?
Completely by accident.
Yeah, the business got into us. We made the comics for fun. I was what, 18, you were 16?
Yeah.
We were just making comics back and forth, and Dave and Matt joined us, and we were just doing it for fun to make each other laugh.
Yeah, we were fans of each other's work, and we just kind of were sending each other juvenile jokes.
Yeah, and I never expected it to take off or make any money whatsoever. But eventually, like, there were enough people with messed up senses of humor like ours that started reading it, and it kind of snowballed in 2006 and 2007, and we very slowly turned it into a business model where we could not only make comics, but produce animations.
Awesome, awesome. The floor is now open for questions. Right there.
Gareth at GarethSmiles.com. I don't know if you pay attention to the Facebook any, but what do you think of people cropping certain points of the comic and then posting it in the comments?
I'm still not tired of it. I know a lot of people are, but I love that it's devolved into people only cropping negative space or pieces of limbs, and
It's become like 3 layers of meta.
yeah.
No, I enjoy it because I think it's a way of people show their appreciation for like details in the comments, like a ridiculous facial expression. Like they'll zoom in on it and crop it and post it back to me, and like, well, it's unnecessary, but it's ultimately funny, kind of flattering.
Right.
Any more questions? Yes, Tyler.
Yes, Tyler Lake from the Cosplay Times. Yeah, first off, thanks for the photo earlier. Just love that.
Thanks for coming by.
How do you like with the Cyanide and Happiness show? I know you worked with like some famous like YouTubers, like like Aaron Hansen and everything. Is there anyone that you would like to work with that you haven't worked with yet?
Yeah, there's a few people. I know that like JonTron is definitely one of the folks we'd like to work with on voice acting level. There's a couple of traditional animators, folks like Toon Hall. They've been doing animations that are very modern cartoons, and it'd be nice to do kind of a collaboration there.
Yeah, I want to work with a ton of YouTubers.
Yeah.
I just don't know very many. We're based in Texas. Everyone's in LA.
Right.
More questions? Okay, more for me then. What are some of the major challenges of the business that you guys face, at least in the business?
Let's see, what the challenges. Well, we do work from separate parts of the country, and so a lot of that is us constantly on Skype calls with each other. I'm basically on a Pandacam all of the time, so I can be there in the office.
For a brief period of time, we built a mannequin in the office and put an iPad on its face and had me Skype Chris in.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like Crank.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Garrett again.
This is just a filler question. How many complaints per week do you get for your comics and it's dark humor?
A whole lot less than we used to when we first started out, honestly. It's a little disheartening that we don't get to dig through hate mail as much as we
Not so much. No, the only thing I think that even remotely qualifies as hate mail is every couple of weeks my mom will email me and say, like, she can't send this one to grandma.
Oh, jeez. Yes, you.
Hi, Neil from 188.3 FM, Willimantic, Connecticut. I'm not familiar with your work, unfortunately, but I will start to check you out now that I've met you. Cyanide and Happiness, where did that name originate?
It was from one of the very earliest comics that were made in the series, and we thought it was a good explanation on how it's dark humor and silliness contrasted together. And in the old comic, it's the ingredients for back alley cotton candy.
Yes.
Remington Kais from Critic Nation. How was the transition like from going from comic to animation? Was it difficult? What was the process like?
It was very natural, honestly, because we met as animators, fans of each other's work. We were the type of kids who would, parents would catch us at 5 in the morning on the computers, not watching porn, but making animations. And so it was natural for us. It was actually a discussion before we went fully into the daily comic on should we animate this instead.
It's actually crazy because we used to post cartoons on newgrounds.com, and I had my own website called sticksuicide.com, which was just a ripoff of stickdeath.com. But I had my own little following for the series I was making, and Chris became a fan of it and started posting on my forums, and he started posting his comics, and I became a huge fan of him. So we just merged our mutual fandom together into one project and just collaborated on those first few comics, and the ball started rolling from there. But yeah, we met as animators, and it was very easy to get back into it.
Right.
Yes, Leo in the back.
Hi, Leo Marinat, Convent TV. What inspires you the most to be animators?
I think there's so much more jokes you can do with animation that you can't do in a comic. Like we've done musical numbers and crazy action scenes.
Very true. Yeah, I mean, growing up watching cartoons since from first memories and everything like that.
I like the writing process so much better for shorts too, because with comics, you're coming up with one clever joke and the best way to present it. And sometimes it's a very isolating experience because you're just staring at a piece of paper forever.
Right.
Whereas with the scripts, we sit in one room and we just joke and riff, and we add so much subtlety to each joke, and we kind of twist them around and rewrite them. It's more of a collaboration than the comics are.
It's true. There's a lot more opportunities for us to write outside the kind of comic format, and every second visual or facial expression has an opportunity for us to have fun.
How often do you guys just like you guys are not even like worrying about the comic, you guys just making some eggs? You're like, oh my god, that would be amazing for the comic. We should do that. Like, how many moments do you have like that where you're just doing like daily life activities and you guys come up with, I don't know, concept stories for the comic?
Very often.
Very often.
Especially with the animations. I mean, a lot of them come out from us hanging out, spending time, and conversation, jokes, make each other laugh.
Yeah, spontaneous
jokes.
Targeting community.
Yeah, the spontaneity is once we were in a taxi cab, we started singing barbershop quartet style, having conversations, and that ended up becoming an animation. Like years later. So yeah, any conversation, any joke, no matter how stupid, has the potential to go on YouTube.
Content, love it. Touch it.
Hi, Tasha from Convent TV. If you could meet your characters in real life, what would you guys do with them?
I would run away. I'd run away before the cops get there, or whatever they're up to.
Right, I would try to herd them all into the ocean. Finally rid of them once and for all.
You right there.
Doug Engler, Animazing Radio. So, when you decided to go to the animation, have you worked with voice actors in the past to help get the voices for your characters, or?
At first, we voice acted the characters ourselves, just so we could get it right, and also because we had no budget, we were just doing it in our apartments. But gradually, we've gotten to know a lot of voice actors and also learned how to become better at voice acting ourselves.
Yeah, better voice acting, better directing it, and I mean, as much as we did do animation as we were kids and directed voice acting there, it's a different level for us now.
Yeah, there's definitely animations on Newgrounds where you can hear like my 15-year-old squeaky voice playing like a war general or something. It's pretty embarrassing.
You.
Calvin Williams, Inspire the Muse. Between the animation and the comic, have you ever come up with an idea so outrageously dark that both of you just stood back shit, that's really bad even for us?
That did happen to the point where we decided to make Depressing Comic Week, but we don't set out to be offensive. We just found out we were offensive, essentially. And
I put comics up where I looked at it and went, oh no, that's not funny, but never that it's too dark or too far.
Right. Leo.
So you both invented Depressing Comic Book Week. What week is that?
It's a week that we basically get to pick and choose when it is, so it's a surprise for everyone.
One year we did two of them, two different comics.
It's true. It was fun. Yeah, we were feeling especially sad that year.
Tyler.
Yes. Have you had any people come as a cosplayer of Cyanide and Happiness?
Yeah.
And what is the most common one?
What's the most common?
Probably the bald guy with the black arms and the colored shirt.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
the most common cosplay. But I went to India for 2 different conventions, 2 years, and the cosplayers there are way over the top for CNH. Like every 4th person who showed up was wearing like a Cyanide and Happiness mask or a full like styrofoam like head. It was pretty impressive.
The arms. Like, ridiculous stuff.
Rather you guys, clarification. Do you,
Next, yeah. Sorry.
would you guys ever be interested in transitioning into the television world or even making a film of Cyanide and Happiness, much in the style of like South Park or?
Yeah, if the right idea struck us, I think we'd love to make a movie at some point. And as far as TV, we originally pitched the Cyanide and Happiness show for TV. We just found that like the market for TV wasn't really interested in sketch comedy. And also we weren't really interested in giving up all the rights, which you have to do to make any TV show. So instead we went to Kickstarter and YouTube and obviously like that's where we've gotten most of our traction these days. So I think it was the right choice.
Right, yeah. We considered internet the biggest television network that we could really aim for.
Jeremy on the Invisible Cat Patrol, are you ever still surprised that like your very specific sense of humor in like relatively simple art style is so popular?
Oh, it's very surreal, and it's nice to know that we're not alone with our sick sense of humor. Absolutely, I mean, it's part of the reason why we were having so much fun when we were younger, making it for each other, we was scribbling it and writing.
It was a very much a surprise because the first convention we ever went to was San Diego Comic-Con, right? So we really jumped in the deep end. We didn't even have a table. We just showed up and borrowed someone else's table and sat there for an hour drawing pictures. It was the first time we'd ever met our fans face to face, and it was completely overwhelming and surprising.
Very inspiring.
Because we saw the numbers that we were getting, like so many thousand viewers a day, but it wasn't really real until we went to a comic convention and sat there drawing butts for people.
It's crazy what can happen when you leave the computer room.
Now, you guys are artists yourselves. Do you work with any artists other than yourself on your comics?
With the comics, we do them ourselves, but the animation, it takes an enormous team, anywhere between 30 to 80 people to work on a single animation. That's including like voice actors, sound designers, managers. We built up our own animation studio in Dallas that produces the weekly shorts. And it takes a lot of immensely talented people. We have about 60 projects in the works at any given time.
Right. But with the comic, we have done things like Guest Week or have basically collaborated with some of our friends and writers here and there.
Yeah. The guest weeks are always great, so you can take a little break.
One or two more questions.
DenBleyker.com. Now with the popularity of you guys now and wanting to put out the best content that you guys do, do you guys have like guest speakers or friends and family to look at your stuff before releasing it to the public?
We sometimes Skype each other with ideas to see if they're funny. Like Chris might text me at like midnight or something and be like, hey, if Eddie Murphy was a Yeti Murphy. Yeah. So we're always running stupid ideas past each other because it's very safe writing.
Right. And it's nice not to write comedy in a vacuum all of the time. And yeah, we very much like to bounce ideas off each other and kind of improv through a lot of ideas.
What's some advice you would give to people trying to get into the business or do what you guys do?
The advice I always give is to not think about it as a business, at least not at first.
Right.
Because like when we started, we were just doing it for fun, and that's all we expected it to be. We were just enjoying ourselves, making ourselves laugh, pushing ourselves as writers, as humorists. And I feel like if Cyanide and Happiness hadn't taken off, I don't know if we'd still be doing it, but it wouldn't have been wasted time. It would have been a huge amount of fun. And I think if you focus on that first, that's how you get an audience, by making something true to yourself that's funny to you. But then obviously the business part is important, but you should, the best thing you can do there is take every decision as it comes and get the best advice you can from people around you.
Right.
You can ask 20 different cartoonists how they make money and how they got where they are. You'll get 20 completely different answers.
It's true. But it is very important when you're just starting out to basically find the project that you have a hard time not doing, that it doesn't come out of what comes at you very organically, and then stay consistent with your schedule and your audience, so they know how to make it a routine in their lives and kind of share it with you every day instead of kind of letting them guess when an update is.
Thank you. Any more questions? One more?
Yeah. Do you think knowing each other as long as you have helps with writing, or does it ever negatively impact it? Like, do you ever need to be around other people just to get kind of new ideas?
Well, it's both. It does, yeah, it does help, like being around new people here and there, because we get, it's fresh voices and new perspectives, and we'll often find ourselves writing a lot of just kind of similar jokes because we want to see them, or yeah, it just makes us laugh very commonly. So it's nice to bring other people, especially within the animations. But we honestly, we worked together for about 2 years before we ever met each other in person. So it added an interesting perspective to a lot of our writing together in the first start.
Especially animation, I feel like the past 3 years, I looked at some of our shorts even 3 years ago, and I wish I could rewrite them, because the way we write now, I think is so much, it's more fluid and so much better.
More experienced.
More experienced, yeah.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for them today, yeah. Where can we expect to see you after this conference today?
We'll be downstairs in the back left wall in the online media section.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming, Rob and Chris.